Alright, ladies with gentle hands, so apparently my first cleanup backlog video did really well, which is hilarious to me because I generally thought that everybody was tired of watching me suffer through games that I should have finished in 2019. But here we are, part 2 of Backlog Busting, which is the series where I'm tackling my backlog and also cleaning up some platinum trophies.
No! God, please, no! No!
We finished the last episode with a 56.26% on PlayStation profiles, and how much will I be able to raise that in this video? Make sure we are sticking around till the end. And of course, if you would like to see more videos on my trophy backlog, then don't forget to drop a like, and if we hit 500 likes on this video, I will make a part 3. And maybe subscribe as well, that helps. I've got a bunch of PlayStation 3 classics lined up that I am working on, so the next episode could be awesome, but it is in your hands. With all of that said, let's jump straight into our first game of the cleanup. Speaking of PlayStation 3 games, a teenage favourite of mine was the original Destiny game. I started this journey 11 years ago, and this did span back to my PlayStation 3 at one point, and I think this is one of the very few titles when looking at your trophy list, it actually has a PlayStation 3 and 4 icon on it. Anyways, booting up Destiny in 2025 feels like walking into a nightclub at 2:55 AM. Everything's technically still running, but you know that the good times had ended hours ago. I had quests half finished, patrols untouched, and trophies that basically said, hey, do you remember when you used to have friends to raid with? But despite all of this, I really did enjoy my time going back to this game. And luckily, young Defroth enjoyed Destiny so much that basically all of the trophies were done, except for the hard ones. All we need to do for this cleanup then on the Platinum was to tackle arguably one of the hardest multiplayer trophies I have encountered, alongside leveling up 2 of the classes to max level, which let me tell you, took forever. And then there was also just a little collectible trophy for finding 50 ghosts. Yes! Finally! Finding the 50 ghosts was fairly easy. I had around 35 of them from when I previously played the game, and luckily the video guide I followed from PowerPYX lined up pretty nicely with my missing 15, so I didn't need to go on a wild goose chase, which was fantastic. The 2 trophies that did haunt me for 11 years were related to completing the raids in Destiny, which at face value doesn't sound that hard, but you do need to complete a raid with nobody dying, and then also complete the raid consisting of members of your clan only. Of course, back in 2014 when I played this, I probably had no friends and not much has changed in 2025, so this was going to be a real struggle. I was more of a solo player back in the day, always have and always will be, but it has been great recently connecting with people. And if you do want to connect with like-minded gamers, you can join my Discord, which is linked in the description of this video. For any of your trophy hunting needs, we have got you. So I did put up a PlayStation profile session, and I did ask my Discord if anybody wanted to help out and needed the trophy. We did manage to get a couple of runs going, but all of us not playing the game in quite a long time, I was rusty and I didn't know any of the steps, and we did make some good progress when trying to do the raids, but it didn't quite work out, you know, with people's schedules, time zones, things like that. It just wasn't, you know, working out, which is okay. However, I was put into contact with some Destiny veterans who were kind enough to hold my hand through the raids, so shout out to Thumbducks, Wi-Fi Lost, and also Psycho the Psycho. This really wouldn't have been possible without these gentlemen. Their knowledge of Destiny was really impressive and interesting, and of course the fact they did carry me through the raid. So finally, after 11 years, the raiding party and the notorious flawless raider trophies were finally mine.
Hey, let's go. Chase.
Something that I never thought that I would get, in all honesty. I loved Destiny back in the day. I had over 300 hours in it. For me, that's quite a lot. And enjoying this game so much, it just felt so good to get these trophies that, you know, were blocking me for so long from potentially reaching the platinum of this game. And not only did these gentlemen help me with the raids, they actually helped me with a DLC raid as well called Wrath of the Machine, which had a really cool boss battle, and in turn, the Spliced and Splicer God trophies were unlocked. The second being for completing the raid on heroic difficulty. Again, I totally carried that. And then the final 2 trophies were related to leveling up subclasses. So I mained the Hunter back in the day, and I never played any other class. I literally just played the Hunter because it was my favorite. So what I needed to do was I needed to level up the 2 other classes called the Warlock and the Titan. For some reason, the Titan didn't take that long. I think I must have had some XP boost on or something like that. So the main focus of this section will be on the Warlock because the Titan, you know, didn't take as long clearly. And I did stream streamed the entirety of this on YouTube, and my streams added up to around 15 hours of level grinding just for the Warlock alone. And as you can imagine, the grind was quite painful, but my live chat really did come in clutch with supporting me and pushing me on for the Platinum Trophy. So I just want to say a big thank you for everyone that's helped me along the way, you absolute massive legends. And then finally, after 11 years, the Destiny Platinum was mine, and I was hoping for a cooler moment for this trophy to pop, like being in a gunfight, doing some epic jumps through explosions, but instead, me and my live chat were discussing economics and also obesity rates. They care like a lot about their exercise and sport, you know, in terms of like making sure that people aren't like morbidly obese and stuff. Oh my god, chat! I can't believe we're talking about morbidly obese people, but who would have thought cashing a check would have got me the... Oh my words. Oh my words. Oh my words. Yes. Guardian Lord. Let's go. There we go. Let's have a little dance with everybody. Yeah, bust down, Tatiana. I want to see you bust down. Next up was Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is an open world RPG Dragon Ball game. And I always bang on about how good this title was, and as a child, this is the type of game that I dreamed of having. Of course, Budokai 3 had a very similar open world element to it, but of course it was never to this scale. We started off this cleanup with a good portion of the trophies popped. I had already got the Platinum Trophy for the PlayStation 4 version of this game, and I wanted to play the new DLC at the time, so I booted up the PlayStation 5 version to play the DLC. This in turn partially auto-pops a bunch of trophies, and weirdly enough, the only trophies that were left were the really grindy ones, and I was uncertain if these trophies would even pop because I've never encountered a partial auto-pop like this before. As I mentioned, I was interested in playing the DLC at the time, so I didn't bother going back to get these trophies, I just focused on the DLC. And after 2 years, I've finally caved in and went back to play this marvelous game again and clean up those trophies for the Platinum. So the grindy trophies that I mentioned are for defeating 20 and then 30 villainous parties. Purging the Plague. There we go. Defeat 30 villainous parties. There we go. Receiving 20 telepathic messages from King Kai, which were random by the way, and that also is the same for destroying 10 boulders that were blocking caves. It's kind of RNG where they spawn. I'm sure I could have watched a video, but I was just flying around the world hoping that I found them. It didn't take too long. I then needed to make 5 full course meals, but what the trophy description doesn't tell you is that they need to be 5 different full course meals. So I ended up using all of my ingredients on repeating the same meal, and it turns out that according to a Reddit post you actually needed to have the different meals. So I gathered some more ingredients, cooked up 5 different meals, and then I finally got that trophy. I then had to defeat the secret boss Mira, and that fight only unlocks after you defeat the 30 villainous parties mentioned just a moment ago. The last 2 trophies that I needed kind of went hand in hand. I needed to upgrade the training room to level 10 and complete the mission that it had. The catch being that you needed lots of money, and also materials to upgrade the rooms. Again, super confusing that I was technically playing on my 100% PS4 save file, but for some reason this room reset and so did all of my money and materials. This wasn't a problem though, as I enjoyed flying around the world, fighting enemies, and also collecting the Dragon Balls, which was needed for a trophy where you had to summon Shenron 10 times. And then by summoning Shenron 10 times, you would actually be able to wish for money and materials, which did help speed up this process. There was about a 15 to 20 minute cooldown on the Dragon Balls to respawn, so I'd take a little break in between, and luckily for me, I only ended up needing to summon him 7 times instead of 10, which again is very weird, but I'm not complaining. I then also worked out towards the end of upgrading the training rooms that I could go to the vendor outside of Capsule Corp and buy the rare materials that I needed. I also found out that I could sell valuables in my inventory instead of having to wait for Daddy Shenron to spawn in again. I upgraded the training room to level 10 and made light work of the training mission for the Platinum Trophy. And finally, after 2 years of waiting for this Platinum again, I reaffirmed my Super Saiyan status. Tough enough, there we go. That's for completing the level 10 challenge, and then we should get the Platinum. Dragon Ball Master, let's go everybody. I'm so glad to have this one. I absolutely adored Dragon Ball Kakarot when it came out, and then I saw the PS5 version, played it for a little bit, and then just thought, I can't bother to redo all the trophies. So yeah, this is, and the artwork as well with Vegito is chef's kiss. And for those that don't know, I'm quite a big Dragon Ball fan, and I have a few more older titles on my backlog to finish and also clean up the trophies for, such as Raging Blast 1 and 2. So if you would like to see these in a future episode, don't forget to drop a like on the video. It really does support the channel more than you can believe.
More than you believe. More than you believe, I'm happy.
And also let me know if you want to see some more Dragon Ball. For the next game then, I switched gears hard and jumped into Life is Strange 1. I went from doing Kamehamehas to the emotional trauma this game consists of, which is kind of a wild vibe shift. I started Life is Strange 8 years ago, popped one trophy at the start of the game and never played it again. I have been told that this series is critically acclaimed, so I've been meaning to jump back into it. But previously on the channel, in a different video where I got a platinum from every genre, I played Life is Strange True Colors, and that game did not really land for me, mainly down to the cringy writing and the overall storyline being weak. I will keep it a $1.50 here. I did not resonate with Life is Strange 1 either. I just started the first episode and I'm bored. I mean, I guess it's cool, it's like a movie. I can just sit here and eat and watch while they speak. I know she's not moving now, but with this game coming out in 2015, I don't think that it's aged that well, and I'm referring to the dialogue mostly. Every other word out of the characters' mouths is hella this, hella that, and one funny line that sticks out like a sore thumb is, "You hella saved my life, dude," and that is after probably the most traumatic, gut-wrenching event possible.
You hella saved my life.
You hella saved my life. Like, come on, shut the fuck up. Just say, you saved my life, I'm eternally grateful. Like, why is there a need for hella, man? Come on. It's understandable if I'm playing the game as, you know, young high school kids or even younger. You know, kind of makes sense if they're using all of this cringy dialogue. Ah, skibbity riz, kids. But it turns out that the characters are actually in college. They're meant to be young adults. They're not meant to be hitting the Harlem Shake anymore. Do you know what I mean? The cringy dialogue aside, it felt by the end of the game that the choices I made meant nothing. And everything about this game kind of felt paradoxical.
It's paradoxical.
Not to mention that the plot holes of the whole time traveling gimmicks just didn't work at all. I realise that I've probably just ranted about this game instead of informing you about the trophies, but it is a pretty straightforward platinum trophy to get.
I have to take a dump. Are you coming, Max?
You just need to complete the game and then collect all of the optional photos. And as collectibles go, this was a pretty fun one to do, as some of the photo opportunities were interesting. I think it took around 8 hours of suffering to get this platinum trophy, but it was nice to finally have another game cleared up after 8 years. What if I didn't spend however many hours going for this platinum trophy? This was the biggest bunch of flipping baloney ever. I'm glad it's off of the backlog. I'm glad it's 100%ed. But by golly gosh, that was awful, man. That sucked balls. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is our next title, and continuing with the Call of Duty theme from the last video, this is the Call of Duty game that everyone pretended to hate, until they actually played it and realised how low-key it kinda slapped. I will own up, I was one of those people. I never brought this game at launch because I was sick and tired of the futuristic Call of Duties. But in retrospect, this game is pretty good for a sci-fi shooter. I started the platinum journey for this 1 year ago, and the first trophy I made sure to get was the supposedly unobtainable online trophy for winning multiplayer games. The workaround is to have a friend or somebody that runs a boosting session in an Asian server, and by playing a game on the Asian servers, for whatever reason there's some weird glitch where you don't need to win 5 games, you just need to play one singular game, I think it's of gun game, and then the trophy will pop. I then proceeded to stream the entire campaign playthrough on the channel last year. I left the zombie related trophies until now, and being real, the zombies for this game was actually quite intimidating. The Easter eggs are like the older Call of Duties, where you really have to work hard for each step. But before I dive any further into the zombies trophies, I just wanted to shout out the JTH and also Hayden for their knowledge and help on getting these trophies. I guess the main hold up from blocking me from the platinum was the Easter egg and also finding all of the stickers, and then the other kind of collectible trophy for finding the hidden Modern Warfare 1 and 2 songs. Hayden was a huge help on helping me complete the sticker book for a trophy, and also finding the teddies for the songs I just mentioned. Oh, there we go. Love the 80s. Let's go! Thank you, buddy. And for context, there were 47 known locations where a teddy bear could spawn, and you'd need to shoot them 5 times, and before moving on to the next teddy bear, they would also randomize their location. It was a bit of a nightmare, so thank you, Hayden, for that. And Hayden did also assist on the Easter egg as well, which can be quite stressful in places. The Simon Says step, you could argue, is one of the hardest that you need to do, and you need to play Simon Says with a UFO, and you have to make sure that you input all of the commands correctly. If not, you'll get a bunch of mini boss enemies spawn, and that's just not good for anybody. And then once you've completed the Simon Says step, some aliens will spawn in which act as the boss alongside zombies, and they are quite tanky and they do hit hard. Early into the boss fight, I did actually get trapped. I went down and lost all of my perks, and I did think that the run might have been over, but as a first attempt on this, we persevered and somehow managed to survive. Hayden did also go down at one point, and against all odds, I did pull off a revive that really shouldn't have worked.
Have no ammo. Careful. I'm punching them. Nice. I've got all my perks. I've got all my perks.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, just survive. After enough adrenaline coursing through my veins to put down a rhino, the Easter egg was completed, and one of the hardest zombies trophies I've experienced was completed.
On my knees.
Yes. Do I need to pick that up?
Yeah, grab it.
Sulky. Nice. But it wasn't quite over there. I still needed to do a couple of miscellaneous trophies in the campaign, such as finding all of the weapons, upgrading all of the upgrades, and I did think these would be slightly harder than they were, but they weren't actually that bad after looking at a Reddit post, which, you know, you can figure out anything from Reddit. I then went to Rodeo on a C12 robot, and then the last trophy I needed was to get 15 kills with the 0G grappling hook, and after 1 year and 2 months, the Infinite Warfare Platinum was finally mine. Alright, there's... Oh! What are the odds on that? The first one that we do, it pops the trophy. So that's Danger Close. And then that is the Platinum Trophy for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And wowee, what a game. I actually really did enjoy this experience low-key. I think when the game released, I obviously had Call of Duty fatigue with all of the EXO stuff. But, you know, playing it... How many years later is it? Like 7 years later or something crazy like that. Super duper like fun to do, and yeah, just it's been an interesting experience getting the platinum, and one that I'm very happy to now add to my list because it is quite difficult to get, should we say, being a 7 out of 10. I do have the majority of the Call of Duty Platinums now, with the exceptions of Black Ops 3, 4, and of course 7 that's just released. If you would like to see me suffer through one of these Call of Duties as part of this series, then be sure to let me know down below. Another game that took me 10 years to get the Platinum Trophy for was Infamous First Light. What an absolute banger this game is, by the way. I had previously played the game and completed the game and only popped the story related trophies around 10 years ago. When loading up this game, I no longer had my old save file, so I had to replay the entire game again, which wasn't that bad because I did want to enjoy an Infamous story in a bite-sized way, and I also did this on stream, and this was quite a fun experience. The Platinum Trophy can be daunting, but it isn't that bad once you start playing. The collectibles show up on the map, and it's super easy to collect them, and the map is also really small. That shouldn't take too long, which is a big win. And the only trophies that require some effort are getting all of the upgrades, completing all of the challenges in the game, and achieving high scores on each of the survival and rescue maps. It does sound like a lot, but just by playing the game and gradually making your way through it and getting more and more upgrades, the challenge maps do become a lot easier, and then in turn reward you with more skill points, which, you know, you can get more skills and then make the harder maps easier. So it is really not that bad of an experience. I think all in, it probably took me about 8 hours of cleanup to get this, which isn't the worst in the world. And I did find the cleanup for this game a fun little challenge at times. And as I mentioned, those survival and rescue maps, some of them can be kind of tricky, but once you kind of understand the pattern of it, they're not that bad to do at all. If you are a fan of the Infamous games, or you're looking to dip your toe into the series, this Platinum is pretty short, and it is also a fun one too. This game took me just over 10 years to clean up the Platinum for. Oh, sorry, Unleashed Trophy. And then... here we go. Noble achievement. That is the Platinum Trophy, ladies and germs. And last but not least, we have Rematch. The game looks simple until you actually play it and realise that your team are full of Neymar wannabes trying to complete skills, but they have the ability of Harry Maguire. While this game did pique my interest at launch, I think it would have landed a lot better if it was a free-to-play game. 5 months ago at launch, I suffered through the majority of the trophies of this game, bar one, which we will get back to in a moment, and the reason for me not popping the platinum back then was there were a bunch of glitch trophies, most notably the one for winning 3 games in a row, which I did a few times, and as you can imagine, doing this solo with randoms was an absolute nightmare. I swear to God, the people that I was playing with had potatoes for hands. That guy honestly had an open fucking goal and he decides not to score. Like, I literally just need one fucking assist. I've been playing this game for 2 hours and it's so annoying. And the trophy list in general is somewhat simple. You need to score, assist and save 100 goals, and there's other milestone trophies related to this, and then you need to complete some specific trophies like assisting with a goalkeeper or being the MVP of the match. On paper, the platinums should be simple, but playing with randoms really slowed down this grind. Anywho, fast forward 5 months later, once I've finished my platinum from every year challenge, I could go back to revisit this game and finally pop the platinum. And the last trophy that I needed was to get 100 assists in the game, and I had 85 out of 100, and I thought this would be quite easy to do, and oh, how I was wrong. This took me upwards of about 2 hours to get this. The servers took quite a while to find games when I was searching, and as you can imagine, my teammates were not the best for the majority of the games. Would I recommend this game? Maybe if it was free to play or on PlayStation Plus, or if you've got a group of friends to play with. I half expected this game to give me a similar nostalgia hit to Rocket League, as that did back in the day. You know, it kind of had these similar vibes from the trailers, but I was quite wrong on that. So yeah, after 5 months, the rematch platinum was finally mine, and then the game could be deleted from my console. This game really did not tickle my pickle. Oh, how's he scored a worldie? That's an assist, right? Oh, thank goodness. Random man on the internet, I don't know, I can't thank you enough for literally making history. Oh my word, that is the that's the rematch platinum. I'm so sorry, but I'm glad that's done. And that's another wave of the backlog trophies cleaned up in this episode of Backlog Busting. Will this be the last one? Absolutely not, as these videos are a bunch of fun to make, and it also gives me an excuse to revisit some older titles I need an excuse to play. But if you'd like to unlock the next episode, we will need to reach 500 likes, so make sure to drop a like if you haven't already. And as I said at the start, subscribing is also pretty cool. This episode we made very minimal progress on the cleanup percentage. We have boosted ourselves up to 56.38%, and this is purely down to me starting a bunch of new games as well, which doesn't help when I'm trying to raise a percentage. I'm automatically putting it down. If you enjoyed watching, of course, drop in a like, drop a comment, and tell me what games you would like me to suffer through next, and I will see you on the next one, probably sooner than you'd like. Take it easy.